President Jacob Zuma has hosted the third Presidential Local Government Summit in Johannesburg today. Our reporter Thulasizwe Simelane is at Gallagher Convention Centre in Midrand. Let's cross live to him now. Thulas, what a welcome there for the arrival of the President.
Yeah, absolutely, Michelle. The gathering is an official government engagement that has been, on the cards for quite some time. Clearly, a lot of planning has gone into it. But the delegates who are here, especially those who perhaps come from ANC-led municipalities, did not miss the opportunity to make their voices heard about the recent developments. Just before President Jacob Zuma arrived, they started singing songs about the president. One of the songs was saying that Zuma mo, those who don't want him must step back. This is Zuma's place or Zuma's home, and those who don't want him must step back. And really singing songs about the president. And he walked into that kind of welcome. President Jacob Zuma. And those who are not, obviously in support of that singing remained seated. And in a way that spoke to just how changed the picture of local government is from the last time the Presidential Local Government Summit was held in 2014, in that a lot more municipalities are not necessarily led by the ANC today.
Thulas, a real sense there that the President is getting on with his diary appointments. I mean, given the discord in the country at the moment, particularly ahead of that planned protest action in Johannesburg, in Tshwane, in Cape Town, might one not perhaps expect an address from the President himself?
Absolutely, Michelle. Well, President Jacob Zuma wasting no time spelling out what he means by radical economic transformation. He says that over this year they've chosen to focus on the issue of radical economic transformation, and he said it's not some ho-ho or some creature that people don't understand. Let me read you what he said he means by radical economic transformation. He says it is the fundamental change in the structure, systems, institutions and patterns of ownership, management and control of the economy in favor of the poor, the majority of whom are African and female. So President Jacob Zuma talking along those lines and spelling out what the role is of local government in advancing that issue of socio-economic transformation, and calling for unity within the local government sphere. As I said, a lot of change is happening at that sphere, but much of it at this point not necessarily in the hands of the African National Congress, as we saw the scenes that were playing themselves out at the State of the City address in Tshwane, where there were clashes between the councillors of the African National Congress. Let me not finish the story. I'm joined now by the president of the South African Local Government Association and former mayor of the city of Johannesburg, Parks Tau. Mr. Tau, thank you so much for joining me. At the end there, as you were delivering that speech, a very startling figure that you revealed of 117 billion rand owed to municipalities. That is huge. What is the nature and character of this debt?
It certainly is a huge amount. It is constituted by, amongst others, government debt. It's also constituted by domestic and commercial debt. So we have a situation where business people, government and residents owe municipalities. And what we're saying as local government is that we need to find a sustainable solution to this ballooning situation in local government.
Some would even say that it perhaps threatens even the viability of municipalities. Are we talking here about a situation where some municipalities are probably dithering on bankruptcy?
So far, it has not directly impacted because local government has looked at it by managing their tariffs in a particular way and improving their credit control measures. The proposal that we've put to government is that we need to increase the level and status of municipal debt so that it's able to enjoy a higher status and the ability to get earlier collection, particularly in environments of liquidation and so on, and a number of regulatory changes that would be necessary to enable people revenue and facilitate that people pay their municipal debt. And I think for us the situation is such that we are in an environment where people prioritize their retail debt, they prioritize other obligations before they even prioritize local government. And we're saying we need to change the status, and that requires regulation in government.
So to what extent then does it contribute to situations such as what we see with municipalities not being able to pay ESCOM, for example, municipalities such as Emalahleni being threatened from time to time with being switched off?
In fact, Emalahleni is a particularly typical environment that we're dealing with. What is owed to Emalahleni by government and what Emalahleni owes to ESCOM actually cancel each other out. So the question is, how do we manage both situations of government paying Emalahleni so that it's able to meet its obligations over and above the obligations that residents and businesses have to Emalahleni. That's why we're calling for a comprehensive review and a look at the entire situation so that we can have a long-lasting solution to this problem.
Mr. Tau, before I let you go, let me ask you, President Jacob Zuma talking about 2017 being the year of unity and calling for unity at local government level. As he was saying this, ugly scenes were playing themselves out in the Tshwane State of the City address, where it seemed there were clashes between councillors of the African National Congress and the councillors of the DA and other parties, with the result that the mayor there was not able to deliver the State of the City address. We've seen similar scenes playing themselves out in places such as the Nelson Mandela Bay. As president of SALGA, what is your message to these councillors, but also talk to me as a leader of the ANC? Is this a sign of an ANC that refuses to accept the choices made by the voters, a certain arrogance, perhaps an arrogance of believing that you are entitled to being in power?
I don't always want to wear my ANC hat when I represent the South African Local Government Association, but starting there, I think we need an engagement by all political parties. I think there are more deep-seated issues, and I think that we need to analyze the causes of these situations. I mean, our experience in Johannesburg has been that the tension has been caused from political parties across the board, and the way in which the situation has been managed hasn't enabled political parties to resolve these issues. We're finding that the more political parties engage, the better we are able to deal with the issues, including some tough, tense situations that we confront. And in an environment where you have hung municipalities, they become more difficult to resolve. I think we need to continue encouraging our local public representatives to find amicable solutions to whatever complex problems that they deal with. And I think that's the call we would want to make as SALGA and encourage all political parties to engage in this regard.
Right. Parks Tau, thank you so much. I really appreciate this time with you. He is, of course, the president of the South African Local Government Association, talking to us here at the Presidential Local Government Summit. They've gone for a break now, Michelle. After that, they will break into sessions where some of the themes that were raised by President Zuma and other speakers this morning will be fleshed out. The call is to make the strategy of back to basics work for local government. Michelle?
Tulasizwe Simelane live to us there. President Jacob Zuma hosting the 3rd Presidential Local Government Summit in Johannesburg. All right, Sandile has your Newsday Sport. That's after the break.